What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my camera gear and what I use to shoot photos, and also going to talk about my MacBook, what I use on it to edit my photos and videos. But yeah, guys, so basically I get a lot of questions asking what I shoot with, what I use, what editing software, and what computer. Just letting you know, this is going to be maybe something that are going to be a little more expensive than some things out here. Like my EOS R, my MacBook Pro 2020, which was around $1,700. But anyways, let's get this video started. Alright, so we're going to start off with the first thing, and that's going to be my Canon EOS R. And I picked it up about 2 years ago, but here's a backstory to it. I was essentially going to pick up the Sony a7 III, especially for, making videos and getting more, photos with the dual card slots, but I kind of sold myself with the Canon EOS R because I already had lenses for it, and that I would get the adapter for free if I picked up the Canon EOS R. So that's one of the main reasons I got the Canon EOS R, because I already had the lenses. And I also got the adapter for free, and it worked out in the end. And the colors are amazing, the menu system is really easy compared to Sony. The flip out screen is a big bonus, especially for video or even for vlogging, and it's really easy to set up. It doesn't have as much buttons as the a7 III. I mean, you can see it as a bad thing or a good thing, but I see it as a good thing. I never use that little swipe thing, whichever is on the back of the Canon EOS R. I don't know why they put it on there. I wish it was just a joystick, but it doesn't really matter. I like that it shoots 4K, but I'll be honest with you, I never shot 4K on the Canon EOS R. I just shot 1080 and sometimes even 720p for that 120 frames per second, and that 120 frames per second is really good. It's included in some of my videos, and you probably didn't even know it was at 720 with 120 frames per second. It doesn't even look like it's 720, honestly. I see it as 1080, especially if you're looking through like some sort of tablet or some sort of phone. But yeah, so if you were trying to see what camera I shoot with, it's going to be the Canon EOS R. And some of you are probably going to be really disappointed because you thought I was going to be shooting Sony. But sorry, I am not shooting Sony, I'm shooting Canon. I feel like people get disappointed when I tell them I shoot Canon, because every time they ask me, they probably want to know that it's going to be Sony. But trust me, Canon is still really good. I love the colors. I know they're getting a lot of negative feedback, especially with the R6 and the R5 overheating. But if you're looking for something that, not too professional, but, can get the job done, especially for video or photos, I think the Canon EOS R is a pretty good camera. Will I get the R5 to R6? I don't think so. I don't think just yet, unless they maybe fix that overheating problem. And I really want to get more into filmmaking, because I don't know, it's just something I want to start doing, and not just photography. I feel like I've been, evolving into filmmaking more. So if I'm going to get the R5 or R6 probably later on when they fix that overheating issue. I don't really have much bad to say about the EOS R, but if I had one thing to say, it's probably the battery life, which doesn't last long. I went from the Canon 6D, which shot almost 800 photos, to the EOS R shooting about 600, 650. But I'm also shooting a lot of video, which kills the battery on this guy. But that's pretty much it for the cons. One of the biggest feature, in my opinion, is when I have my eye in the electronic viewfinder and I want to focus, I just use my thumb and I move it around on the touchscreen, which makes it very convenient. And also having that face detection on it works great for portrait photography. Alright guys, so I'm going to be talking to you about my lenses right now. I'm not really going to go in much depth about it, but the first lens I'm going to be talking to you guys about is my Tamron 24-70 2.8 G2. This is about maybe $1,100, $1,200, wherever you can find it cheaper. I think it's better than the Canon 24-70 2.8 L ring. It does have vibration control on this lens right over here, so that way, if you step down to 50th of a second or even lower, it will be a big help. And also great for video, for the vibration control, especially since the EOS R is only digital in body stabilization. This lens helps it a lot. I don't know why people tend to buy the Canon 24-70 still, where this lens, you can get it for cheap, has the vibration control. Yes, it's going to be heavier, and I know the Canon is a little lighter, but this is going to help you a lot, especially if you're going to invest in a 24-70. I think even the Nikon and the Sony ones are really good as well. I know Sony has a 20-75. I tested that out at work as well. It works fine. and I want to say that the version for Nikon is going to be as good. So if you want vibration control, you're vlogging or anything like that, you want an all-around lens, I highly suggest this. I use it a lot for street photography, for portraits, for landscape shots, even though I kind of need a wide angle lens, but I'm not really going to get into that. Great at 24, great at 70. I mean, what else do you want for $1,100? Is a pretty amazing pickup. I guess people would just go for the L ring, red ring, or whatever, just to flex on other people. So yeah guys, I highly recommend this lens. So the next lens I'm going to be talking about to you is about my 70-210 f4. This is actually a constant f4, not like the other lenses where it's a 3.5 to 5.6. I love using this lens a lot for nature photography. Rarely use it for wildlife. I don't know why, but I tend to use my 24-70 more. It sucks that's an f4, especially during like blue hour or nighttime photography. I wish I had that 2.8, but who cares anyways. I mean, the f4 still works great for me. I just bump up that ISO, still maybe probably get that nice little filmy, moody look I like in my photos, which come out a little more cinematic. For street photography, this is pretty cool since you get that compression, especially in downtown, wherever you guys go and whatnot. But yeah, so I do highly recommend the 70-210 for nature and street photography. But if you can afford that 2.8, go for it as well. It's just going to be a little more heavy. And do mind that this Tamron does have vibration control. So I kind of always have it on, especially for video and handheld shots. So my next lens here is going to be my 50-1.8. This is probably the cheapest lenses you guys can get for Canon, or for EF mount, EFS mount too. You can use it on crop sensors like the T7i or T7. But this is everybody's probably first prime lens here. It works great. Don't get me wrong, it's like, even though it is cheap, it produces amazing photos. I just don't get to use it as much as I want, especially in photo shoots. I tend to use the 24-70. If I'm using this lens, it's probably mostly for street photography, to get a 1.8 during night shots. I'll probably in the future start using this lens a little bit more and maybe include it in point of view street photography. But if you're in the market, try to get this little lens too. It's pretty amazing portrait, street photography, some landscape shots here and there, especially if you use a crop sensor, it'll benefit you. Next up in the list is going to be my Manfrotto backpack. This is going to have like this little cushion over here to put like a camera and extra lens if anything, but this is more my street photography backpack or my daytime hiking backpack. And then it has a little compartment over here we can add more stuff. This I put my 70-210 or my 50mm. Put my GoPro in here for other stuff. Batteries. It fits almost anything, but if I'm hiking I tend to use my other backpack there. Compartment for computer, but I barely go anywhere right now, especially since you can't go anywhere. But it does have a compartment for my laptop. I highly recommend it, but I'm not sure if they still sell these ones. I gotta figure out which model this is. Again, I got it for free with my Canon EOS R. It is comfy. It's you know, sleek design, not too high. How do I say that? High end. This camera tends to be kind of a low profile backpack, as you can see over here. You wouldn't think it's an actual backpack. You know, nobody tries to rob you here and there. This is why I use this mostly for street photography. So the next backpack is actually going to be the Wonder backpack in all green. This is actually going to be the 31-liter backpack. Yeah, this is a 31-liter backpack. I use it mostly for hiking, so I can add more stuff in here, like some clothing, some extra socks here and there. It does fit all my lenses, fits my laptop. It's a little bulky for street photography. It's a little, it's not low profile, it's more high profile. This is why I don't use it for street photography. But yeah, it's a great backpack. The only thing that sucks is that it's already broken right here with the zipper. I gotta find a way to fix that, but other than that, it's amazing. Easy to get my EOS R from here in this compartment, get it out, ready to shoot. Have my other 70-210 lens, which I mainly use. And yeah, but if I have any other lenses, it'll fit in there as well. Next up on the list is going to be my L bracket for the Canon EOS R. I picked this one up from Amazon, but I mean, not all of them are going to be the same for every other camera. So this one's specifically made for the EOS R. As you can see here, it's for the battery, and that's for, you know, if you want to add the mic and other stuff like HDMI. This is great for, you know, if you want to shoot horizontal long exposures, or I don't know, maybe you want to do video as well horizontally, but this works great. The only thing that is annoying is that this doesn't fit my tripod. I have to always screw it on where the battery's at, because for some reason this stops it from actually hooking on to the mount for the tripod. But it's a great investment, I highly suggest it. Because if you just use a tripod and use the ball head, it might just like pull down, especially if you're using like a big lens and whatnot. But go ahead and get one of these. Alright, so next on my list is going to be my filter pouch here. I have filters for my Tamron 24-70 and my 70-210. I mostly use polarizers during the day, especially if there's really harsh light. A lot of the times here, especially in the summer during the PNW, it gets kind of sunny. So if you're out on an adventure road trip, you want a polarizer to reduce the amount of like highlights on the trees, on the mountains. So I highly suggest you get some polarizers. UV filters I don't use as much. I don't know, I just don't like using it. I know it protects the lens, but whatever. And then my next thing is going to be ND filters. ND filters I rarely use. I probably used it twice ever since I started like taking photos in the PNW. But back when I was in Florida during sunrise at the beach, I tend to use a lot of ND filter. But here not as much, I tend to use my polarizers. But I got them, all for my 70-210 and also my 24-70. Alright, so next I'm going to be talking about my second camera, which I recently got. It's going to be the GoPro 7. I was really debating between either getting this or just keeping my phone, but my phone really sucks on the battery, especially when recording video. So this is going to be the best thing. I went for the 7 only because I don't really need all the features on the 8. I'm not that extreme. I don't go snowboarding or skateboarding or anything like that, surfing. But the 7 works just fine. It does have the body stabilization built in here. If you see my previous video, it shows you and all that stuff. Color grading, you can easily color grade the footage on this guy here. Shoots 4K, but I don't use the 4K feature on this because I want to save the space and all that stuff. I don't need the 4K footage. But the 2.7K footage is really nice. I highly suggest you shoot to 2.7 to save the space, especially if you're shooting on the 32GB SD card or even 64. Photos, I don't use this for photos. It's going to be mainly for video or time lapses. But if you can, try to get one of these as well, especially if you're a street photographer or on YouTube. These are really nice. One another thing I forgot to mention that goes with my GoPro is this magnetic swivel, as you can see over here. Just mounts on here easily, and I put it on my backpack so that way when I go out and do street photography, it's not on my chest or my, my head. This works perfectly well. I don't have to put additional stuff on my body, just clip this on my backpack. It's ready to shoot, and that's how you get those point of view street photography videos or even nature photography videos. So another couple cameras that I have with me are going to be disposable film cameras over here, one from Fujifilm and the other one's going to be from Kodak. I recently got inspired by Evan Raft and also I think it's KJVP. I'll put their links somewhere around here. But they really inspired me to get more into film photography, and what a better way to start with actual disposable cameras. Because I mean, you can always screw this up. I mean, they're like $4 each. And even if you take a crappy shot, it's not going to be much spent money. Anyways, this is the first one I'm using over here, and then eventually I want to move over to this one. And hopefully I can start shooting some more film photos, especially since I do have like a Still 800T over there. Next up, I'm going to be talking about my Joby GorillaPod. I'm pretty sure everybody knows what this is for, mostly for vlogging. This is the 3K version. It holds up the EOS R and the 24-70 Tamron 2.8 very well, especially if I just put it on the ground. It's perfect. But you still want to be careful and not drop it because, the camera's very expensive. Anyways, this is really nice, especially for vlogging. You can extend your arm mostly like that, as you can see over here. It's pretty good. I highly recommend it for DSLRs or big mirrorless cameras like this. For like A6000s or anything like that, I'd probably go for the 1K, but if you want like a longer one, then get yourself a 3K. So my first microphone I'm going to be talking to you guys about is going to be the Movo Microphone. I picked it up on Amazon for like $40. It's as good as the Rode mic in my opinion, so if you want to save some money, this one will cost you $40, whereas I think the Rode beginner mic costs around $60. And it does come with a dead cat inside, so that way you can get started easily. But I highly recommend it, and it hasn't failed me yet. Only the little TRS cables, it broke, so I had to pick another up. Hey guys, if you are in the market for one, the Movo is your best bet. So my second audio recorder is going to be the Zoom H1N, which I picked up like a few months ago. It's really amazing. Sometimes you can actually use it with the camera if you wanted to, but I use it mostly for voiceovers on some videos. I don't really know much about it. I mean, I did set up the settings in order to record myself, but it does come in handy. No pun intended, handy recorder. But yeah, I'm gonna be using it more for future videos, especially for one that I have coming up, so stay tuned. Alright, so as a creative, you're always going to want a laptop of some sort or even desktop to edit your photos. This is my personal preference here. I know some people prefer PC, but I use my MacBook Pro here. It's 2020. I recently picked it up. I think it's an amazing laptop. I've used my MacBook 2011 for about 9 years already, so it was, time for a change. It works great here. Final Cut Pro, Adobe Premiere, Adobe Lightroom, and Adobe Photoshop. I try to turn off True Tone because when I import my photos to my phone, they look very different. I'm like, why is this a little different? And I realized I had True Tone off. So I turned it off, and now they look about the same from my phone to from the MacBook. But I do highly recommend it if you're in the market for a professional type laptop or desktop. Go for iMac, I guess. But it's your preference. I tend to go for Mac products. And I also do recommend picking up external hard drives or even SSDs of anything. You always don't want your photos or video because it took so much space up on your laptops. So pick up an external hard drive, at least 1 terabyte or even 2 terabytes if you can. And also do yourself a favor, try to pick up a cloud service. Like I always back up my stuff from Backblaze. It's like $6 almost like a month, or it comes out to like $60 if you pay 1 full year. I think it's a great investment, especially if your MacBook or computer crashes. That way you have all your files stored. And if anything, you just back it up. It automatically backs up when you're on the computer. So if you have any files importing there, it'll do it yourself. Anyways, yeah, pick up an SSD or an external hard drive so you can back up your photos and also your video work. Alright, so the next piece of equipment I'm going to be talking to you about is going to be my Manfrotto Elements tripod, which is made of aluminum. It's very sturdy. I use it a lot for landscape photography. I use it for some long exposures, but right now I'm using it to record this video. But yeah, that's mainly what I use it for, to record videos. I don't use it a lot for landscape photography, though this summer I actually been using it a lot more, especially if I want to do like stacking focus points with photos and whatnot. But anyway, I do recommend this tripod. It is a little pricey at like around $140. It does come with a ball head. It does get really tall, especially like your railings. You want to take photos of the city, or there's just something blocking the way. Just pull it up and it's ready to go. It can also be used upside down if you wanted to. Sometimes photographers who want their camera to be upside down to get those low angle shots for long exposures. Alright guys, that's going to do it for me and all my photography gear and all the other stuff that I use for my photography creativity and video. But let me know in the comments below which product was your favorite, or which product you think I should get maybe in the future for my Canon EOS R and my filmmaking, or even maybe for my laptop. And also just give it a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't done so. Alright guys, take care.